What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Chicago Bulls and some Cleveland Cavaliers injury reports ahead of our next game between each other. Now, at the end of the day, for the Chicago Bulls, there's not massive new injury reports, but there is one person I want to talk about in relation to the Chicago Bulls. I know a lot of people like this guy. He's a two-way contract player. But for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it feels like for this upcoming game, there seems to be a lot of injuries heading their way. So we're going to discuss that in this video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, feel free to drop a like and a follow or subscribe, depending on where you're watching this from. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, their injury updates, Cleveland's injury updates, and how can that impact this game now we have against them. Now, we'll start off with the Chicago Bulls. There's actually a guy that we got a little bit of an update in terms of his injury situation, and that is Onuralou Bitim, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I said his first name correctly. Now, the reason why I'm talking about him today is that he is actually a fan favorite among Chicago Bulls fans because of his stature in the preseason and everything in between. But he ended up having a nasal fracture, I believe, and he will be listed as out in this game against Cleveland, which there's no surprise there. He won't be playing, but that is a very interesting update and development there. So look, at the end of the day, I did want to talk about him. He is a popular G League player at the moment. People do want to know how he's doing. People do want to know the updates about him. And yeah, that's something we're going to have to wait and see how that, how that goes, how he could further recover from that. I don't think there's an actual time frame of when he'll be able to return. I just know that according to ESPN and I believe according to Casey Johnson, he will be out from this Cleveland Cavaliers game, which is to be expected. He probably wasn't going to play anyway. We also have Henry Drell as a newer update as well. He has a thumb injury. He will also be ruled out against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But again, these are two guys that are probably not going to play anyway for the Chicago Bulls. So outside of Zach LaVine, Torrey Craig, and Lonzo Ball, there is no new significant update from the injury report for the Chicago Bulls, which is a fairly good sign. It's never nice to see injuries at the end of the day anyway, but to know that, you know, the vast majority of your team is still somewhat healthy is something that I'm willing to take. And of course, you know, some of those guys are expected to return. Torrey Craig will return in a couple of months' time. Zach LaVine is not too far away from returning if he is going to play for the Chicago Bulls again. So we'll just wait and see how things go in the near future. But then we turn to the Cleveland Cavaliers side of things. And look, I don't know all of the injury updates for Cleveland, but according to Casey Johnson, and again, according to the ESPN injury report, there is a couple of things to suggest. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are both going to be out of this game against the Chicago Bulls. They were sidelined beforehand. They will be sidelined for this game as well. So instantly right there, look, when we face Cleveland, I think the biggest issue we have with Cleveland, and it's a big issue we have for most teams that play, you know, the style of play that Cleveland play, it's the size differential. You know, Vucevic and Drummond are the two massive guys that we have, but other than that, we're a fairly small lineup. We're a very guard-centric lineup. We're very switch, and, you know, even if there's mismatches, it is what it is type of team. And that is something that does cause us problems. Now, when they have guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the team and both playing at the same time, I can't lie, that causes massive problems for the Chicago Bulls. So, yeah, to see Evan Mobley out is actually it's gonna be a big blow for Cleveland, I would say, for the most part. And Darius Garland is simply the Cleveland Cavaliers point guard. And I say this with every single team that has a point guard out. This is why the Bulls were struggling for so long. When you don't have your main point guard in the team, 9 times out of 10, it's going to cause problems for you. I mean, look at all the teams around the league. Again, you know, I'll give you an example here. With Ja Morant, perfect example. Ja Morant, their starting point guard out of the lineup, an MVP caliber player, some may say, in Ja Morant. Memphis struggled. They were second last in the Western Conference in terms of their standing. I mean, I believe the San Antonio Spurs point guard was out for a while. And, of course, the San Antonio Spurs are on an 18-game losing streak. If De'Aaron Fox was to get injured for the Sacramento Kings, Sacramento are going to struggle. Saw it with the Bulls. Lonzo Ball got injured 2 years ago. We ended up being 1st to 6th in the Eastern Conference. Now, again, I think it's pretty much as simple as that. But there's also updates that Donovan Mitchell, due to illness, will also be listed as out in this game against the Chicago Bulls. And this is where it becomes it's going to be a massive impact at the end of the day. There's no other way to describe it. This will be a massive, massive impact. Donovan Mitchell is a fantastic scorer for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland are already struggling beforehand, in all fairness, but at the same time, to see your starting point guard kind of be out of this game, to see your young, developing, prosperous big man out for this game as well, and then also to see your best scorer out for this game as well, it could generate some problems for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, there's one or two things that can happen here. Again, because we are very, very familiar with this. When you see all of your superstar players out, Cleveland can form together and play the best team basketball they may have played all season against the Chicago Bulls. That's what happened with the Bulls. You saw Zach LaVine out of the lineup, and the Bulls really started to focus on team-orientated basketball, try to have everybody step up in the absence of Zach LaVine, and we're starting to see how effective that has become. And now we're questioning, all right, if Zach LaVine does come back to the Chicago Bulls, he's going to have to adapt to this type of style. Otherwise, he's going to be blamed and pointed at as the problem. And that is something we'll wait and see about. But that's what the Bulls did when we saw one of our biggest players and our best scorer out of the lineup. But then you turn to, obviously, the other side of things. They could completely just self-destruct as a team. They've already got other guys out like Ricky Rubio, who is taking some time away, I believe. Hopefully everything's all right with him, by the way. They don't have their starting point guard, which will cause problems. They don't have their best scorer. They don't have their prosperous big man. They could just end up playing a very weakened team against the Chicago Bulls. So we'll wait and see how it goes. And by the way, by no means am I saying we are going to walk away from a win with this game just because of those injuries. At the end of the day, the NBA is ridiculously unpredictable. It's simple as that. In a one-game type of situation, no one knows the outcome of a game, no matter who is playing and who is out. But I cannot lie, that does make the Chicago Bulls, I guess, chances to win this game a little bit more favorable, and that is something we'll have to wait and see if we can capitalize on. The fact that this game is at home as well will be massively important. Let's just wait and see how things go for the most part. But what do you guys think? I am going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you are new. I will see you in the next Chicago Bulls related video. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.